Hello and welcome. It's Reanimated. It's usually and often a podcast about zombies, but today we're taking a slight hiatus from zombies to talk about witches. And these witches could delve into zombies. We're not sure. But we're talking about the Mayfair Witches Season 2 today, and my name is Stuart, and with me is the invincible H.A. Conrad. Hello, H.A.
Hello. I wish I was invincible. That would be a pretty cool superpower.
Well, you just have to believe it, right? Isn't that no?
Yes.
Journal about it.
Manifest it.
Mm-hmm. We are here and we are ready to talk about Mayfair Witches. But before we do, there's a couple of things that have been dropping on the internet about our beloved genre.
Yeah.
Two trailers and a piece of implausible news. Or you can plause it as much as you're willing to invest your emotions into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So first up is there is a trailer for is this the fourth remake of Night of the Living Dead?
I am not sure, but it's definitely, there's been multiple. So
And
yeah.
who is behind this? Is this there was one that was supposed to be being made by his widow, George A. Romero's
Right.
widow.
Right.
But this appears to be directed by a Christopher Ray. No release date yet. It was just announced this month, and this trailer is out, and it's not super great as a trailer, but it does have
No,
Vivica Fox, which
it
seems
does, which is
wild.
interesting, and
And
I'm kind of cool with that.
she's dressed in like pants and a tie and a white shirt. Like, I'm not sure about her
Yep.
costume,
I am
but
not sure about this. I'm assuming that she is taking the Ben role, and that's kind of what they're going for. But
it's her and a blonde girl seem to be the two main
yeah,
protagonists. But yeah, it's hard to say if there's a Ben.
yeah,
Maybe it's Vivica Fox. I mean,
maybe, but we'll see.
she's come a long way since playing Will Smith's wife in Independence Day. That's all.
Yeah, but this cast has a few other people, familiar faces. Dee Wallace, which is great. Um,
And Dee
you
Wallace will
know,
be instantly recognizable as a name to people
of The Howling
because of that.
or E.T. So she's in both of those things, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Um, so I have a fond place in my heart for her. We also have Robert Carradine in this as well, who recently passed away. So that's, uh, posthumous release for him. Though I don't think we have a release date yet for this. I think they're teasing that out. So that's been a little bit vague. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure about how this is going to go. But we're definitely going to watch it without question.
I
So
mean, I've been trying to get you to commit to watching the Tom Savini remake for a few weeks now, and I feel like you're kind of not into watching it. But I agree with your statement. I'm just not sure that you do.
I do. I feel like it almost has to be like a series. We could watch remakes and do
Hmm.
like a little mini series of the remakes of this.
Okay.
So
Sign me up.
yeah, the Tom Savini remake, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I feel like
It did not.
of the people making remakes of
Yes, no,
Romero
no.
stuff,
He
he has the credentials.
he does. He does. So yeah, we can certainly do that. But you look, hey, this is gonna be, there's just so many competing different things. I think everybody just wants to bring Romero back, which I can't argue with. So we'll have to take a crack at this one for sure.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to
Um,
it eventually. So that's Night of the Living Dead releasing sometime this year in theory, but the trailer just dropped and you can find it on YouTube with
yep,
Vivica A. Fox looking
yep,
like she's a character from Pulp Fiction. Um, and then we've got another trailer, which we just talked about this last week, and I think we
yeah,
saw a teaser last week. Now there's a more
yeah.
lengthy, yeah,
This is a more fulsome trailer, I would say.
fulsome.
Fulsome.
I have to look that word up because I think it means something other than complete. It means excessively flattering or insincerely earnest, disgusting or offensive. I guess it is that.
Okay. but it also means abundant or full historically. So,
Copious or abundant usage problem is next to that. Yeah.
well, I'm
So
using it in the more historical
I think it's
definition, but
disgusting or offensive because what is going on with all the semen? Is it just me who sees
well,
semen
maybe you could
everywhere in
use,
this trailer?
yeah, it feels like it. Yeah. So I don't know. So I guess you could use full stuff to use that, I
It's
guess. But
definitely full
if you
of
think
semen.
it's full of something,
It's pretty weird that that's the substance that they've gone with that is like, oh yeah, this is the zombie material or this is the stuff that the zombies exude or put out.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little weird. So yeah, I'm glad you said it because I was like, what? Okay,
What's
all
happening
good.
here? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Lots of white viscous liquids. That's much my takeaway. The trailer, I mean, the story looks compelling. What's going on with that guy with that blindfold and his whistling?
I I do not know. Ew. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that's
could have
coming
done
out.
without some of the mucus for sure. Could have
Sure,
cut
you
down
could
on the
call it
mucus.
mucus. You can call it mucus.
I want to call it mucus. I do not want to call it what you are calling it.
Okay, fair. Uh, so that also had a release date. That's kind of the bigger takeaway from the trailer is that it's August 28th, only in theaters, which will be interesting. I don't have very high hopes that will make it to a theater near me, but you for sure.
Yeah, I'll
I don't
be able
think
to
Train
see
to
it.
Busan even made it to the theaters here. Maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, I'd be happy to go see this in a theater if it makes it.
Well,
Questionable materials aside. So
yep.
that is Colony or the Colony, and that's coming in August 28th. And then
Yep.
final piece of news is it's not
This
surprising given what's going on at Paramount. But what do you think of this news, HA? What is the
I
news?
think this is a lie. I
It's a
don't know.
lie.
I just not a lie, but they're claiming that there's a new World War Z that's in development. And maybe it is, but we have heard this before. I don't know. It feels a little premature to be getting into this. So I don't know. Do you think that this is real?
I think that we know that Ellison wants to find new or projects that have worked historically for Paramount, and I think this is
Hmm.
one that you look at. It grossed over $500 million in the box office for whatever stupid reason they couldn't get the sequel off the ground. I don't understand why. They
Right.
certainly have thrown enough bodies at it over the years, and they had the support of the leading actor who is a instant draw. So I don't know why it didn't work before, but I think with this Ellison character, I'm not surprised that he wants to make it happen or try again.
I mean, they have confirmed it. So that's,
It's just they're
that
nowhere
is
near development. Like they're nowhere near
right.
production. This is
Right.
pre-production.
And there's definitely no news about, or any kind of, for Brad Pitt reprising his role. There's nothing like that.
No, I think they should
So
start from scratch at this point. Like
yeah.
bringing back his that actor 10, 15 years later. It's not 15. It's like 10, right?
I mean, I gotta admit, I'm still mourning the idea of a Fincher film, but that got canned, which is just a bummer because that could have really be that could have been amazing. But you know, that's all. That's all we can do is
Well, it
hope,
didn't pan
maybe.
out that
So
time. Maybe they'd like bring him back to the table. Who knows?
maybe, maybe. So we'll see. We'll keep looking at this. I just don't want to get hopes up. So and if it was like sort of maybe a complete reboot, maybe it's a little bit more like the book or some of the best parts of the book that we really liked, which was more of an anthology style. But it didn't sound like that, and I honestly don't think that that's what they would. I just don't think that's what they would go for based on what it seems like they're looking for here.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see.
Well,
Um,
and so yeah, is don't put all your eggs in that basket, but interesting to watch that space.
for
Um,
sure.
that's the end of our new news for this week, bringing us to we're gonna watch. We've watched 2 episodes of the Mayfair Witches season 2 to talk about
Mhm.
today. Those are entitled Lasher and the Ten of Swords.
Yep.
And I had to go back and do some like light reminding myself of what had happened because it had been a long time since we talked about season one, and they don't have
Right.
much of a here's everything that happened last season
No.
up front.
In fairness, I think it would be hard to sum up in
Yeah,
a
there's a
montage.
lot that happens in that first season, but I feel like some shows manage this more
Right.
successfully.
I mean, and again, we're going to spoil the heck out of this. So if
Oh, of
you
course.
haven't seen this and would like to watch it, just don't listen to this until after. But to just kind of sum up where we left it off, we had Rowan, our main character, basically after, all the lead up with the spirit of Lasher with many different types of powers haunting her, haunting the family. There's like this semi prophecy, but she is the quote unquote the 13th witch that he's sort of bonded with, I guess is the best way, or picked. And he is made flesh basically at the end of this. And I think she's gained some his powers, I guess, that he gave to her maybe when he became the baby Lasher. But and she also took out Cortland, made him into a statue, which comes into play later on in this episode, or it's this episode, right?
And the
Yes,
second
or
one
maybe in the
comes
second
back.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, but no, I mean they lead up, they start teasing that in this
Yeah, yeah,
episode
yeah. And
that
then
she's
we find
looking
out, I think, in this episode that isn't actually his death. Like he's not dead.
right, right. He's just
Pretty
kind
quickly
of
we find out about that.
yeah. So I think that's like so this is basically where this first episode starts off is just her having I mean she had some nightmares and things like that, but um this baby Lasher or whatever he is just trying to figure out why he's here, what the deal is. It's a little bit mysterious.
Yeah.
And even before even while he was a spirit, there was a mystery around why he haunted this family, why he wanted to become this human. It's super creepy, quite honestly, if you really think about it. And he doesn't seem to have a memory, or he doesn't want to share. So it's a little hard to determine what's going on here. Also, baby form or toddler form, but he's developing quite rapidly. So that's the kind of um, I know they say that kids grow up so quick in a blink of an eye, but this is quite
I mean,
ridiculous.
yeah, he
It's
becomes a
not.
full grown man in 6 days, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. So that actually was the thing that was. I thought that it was a little hard to tell how long it was, but it was incredibly fast. And just if you think about it in terms of just how you process things, and from her perspective, she's exhausted. She's
Yeah,
basically,
she looks really rough in the first couple
yeah,
scenes.
yeah.
Because she's also being harassed by the ghost of her aunt or great aunt,
Yeah.
maybe Millie, who had
Hmm.
I forget when she died or how she died in season one, but I don't think it was Lasher related per se. Maybe it was, or maybe it was
I
when Aunt Carlotta burned the house down or tried to set the
Yeah,
house
I
on
don't
fire.
remember exactly how Millie died, but she's always been kind of the voice about anti-Lasher, basically saying
Yeah,
that he's looking to destroy the family. And she also calls out the fact that the witches that have kind of bonded with him gave into temptation. And if that Rowan's intentions and motivations are because she likes this power, that he's evil, that he is essentially the devil, or demonic, or of some nefarious nature, which I think it's not too hard to actually draw that conclusion. But that basically questions a lot of Rowan's motivations and is saying, really, you're just putting off the inevitable. You're supposed to take him out, and you're fooling yourself about what your motivations are, essentially. So she's
yeah.
almost like this Jim. I don't want to say Jiminy Cricket, but kind of. Um,
Well, when you think about the journey that that Rowan took last season, where she basically she denied him. She took off
Hmm.
the necklace and was exorcised in a way of him, but then sees that when she does that, it leads to the death of one of the only Mayfair people that she actually is fond of at this point in the story, with Tessa getting killed as a result of that. And then
Yep.
then she kind of goes in 100% at the end of the season, and is like, yeah, well, I'll have the baby, I'll raise the baby. So it's a little weird that Millie is assuming that she's not committed when she has kind of gone fully into being a
Yeah.
Lasher fan. The thing is, though, we see in this episode that she does kind of she's scared of what he is becoming. She,
Hmm.
even though she's like committed to trying to raise him and take care of him mostly, but she does think about killing him too, because Millie's like, hey, it's not a sin to kill the devil.
Yep.
And I
And
think
he
that
is
actually resonates with her, with Rowan pretty
and
well.
and he is scary. I mean, he is, and she does have this power where she can still, and this was a power she had before, but she can, and that became stronger, or something that she didn't fully understand, but she can basically see inside the body and cause like aneurysms and things like that. So she has the power to do that. And
I really like
that,
the mechanic that she has all this power, but it only really works when she's near him.
yep.
I think that's a pretty
So that's
cool
interesting.
element, because at one point in the episode, she goes to turn on the lights and it doesn't work, and she has to use the switch. And I'm just like, oh,
Yep.
that was good. I like that. I like the way that
I
worked.
also thought there might be some part of this, which maybe we'll find out later. I'm not totally like, maybe as he is developing, he is taking his power back. And so that's also what one thing that I thought might be a
Yeah.
piece of this is that he gave it to her, but um, without him, that he may be now, as he's developing, siphoning that back from her. So I thought that may be what was going on, but I could be wrong.
I was wondering if that would be
Um,
the case too, but it doesn't. By the end of the second episode, at least, it doesn't seem like that's
Not
what's
yet.
happening. But yeah,
Not
it's
yet,
still a
anyway.
mystery, and it's kind of a cool mystery for the story. Is we still don't really know what he's doing here, because he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing here.
No,
Uh,
and there's some cool things that happen just as this mystery is being solved. And I loved how that storyline was going, and also that she's closest to this, but there's also these members of the Mayfair family that still venerate, like think he's their personal god, essentially, and are very curious about what is happening with him. We also have the Talamasca still dogging them, and Cyprian Grieve is uh, he starts to come back into the story on the outskirts, but he had been essentially shut out, and you know his sort of um, like it's I do like how they keep it a little bit mysterious. Like you do think he's got his own motivations, but he still has to interact a lot with Albrecht, who is super sketchy always, I think. um, but he is that is something that I'm interested to see what happens, because it feels like he's playing Albrecht, but it's also not totally clear what his plan is either. So I kind of I like that little side story.
yeah, I like
Um,
that he was leaving himself messages in a
mhm,
Bible in his hotel room, and then giving it to Arjuna, who was the healer
mhm,
from the Talamasca from the last season.
right. And
He's
she's
clearly
a
he's
pretty
taking.
cool. I'd like to see more with her, honestly,
Yeah,
because
I
she's
think we
pretty
will,
cool.
because they have more scenes. They have a few scenes together in these first two episodes, so it does feel like she's going to come back into the story. And other people are entering the story for the first time. And in this first episode, we've got another Mayfair. Tessa's younger sister Moira
Hmm.
shows up. This is a new character from who was not in the book, but I guess it's an homage to a character called Mona from the second book. I have no recollection of this character because it's been so long since I read the book. Do you remember Mona Mayfair?
Sort of, yes. But I don't, what they've been doing, which is a little tricky. It's been, and honestly, I did not refresh and reread the books, but they, yes, I think she actually appears maybe in I want to say she appears in something with Lestat later on too, like with the Vampire Chronicles or some part of this world that overlaps. But um, she is. basically kind of trying to figure out what happened to Tessa, but has a pretty fiery relationship with her mother, a difficult relationship with her mother, who is an alcoholic, also just, you know, pretty, pretty like damaging generally, but also like works in the service of Lasher all the time.
And
She
was
was
she
pretty
Deirdre's
jealous.
cousin?
I think she's her cousin, but
Yep.
she also um, no, like she even says that she was jealous of how eventually this comes to pass. But she says how she was jealous of Deirdre's connection and always thought Lasher was looking at her, and it's just you know
Yep.
a little bit she's like a kind of a creepy character for sure, and it's pretty hard for to be the daughter of someone who is also very dismissive of her. Like there's like a couple of pretty rough scenes between them.
Yeah, Moira
Um,
Moira seems to have a really tough go. I mean, she's also exercised herself or left the family, and she's
yep.
moved. She lives in Spain, and she's just come back for Tessa's funeral, but has missed the funeral.
Hmm.
And so like you get a sense of Moira being kind of a black sheep,
Hmm.
also because her power is telepathy, and her mother doesn't trust her. Her sister lets her read her mind, but her mother puts on music every time Moira's in the room, and other family members do the same thing. And
Yep.
Alicia, her mom, is just really cruel and dismissive of her, like you said, saying things like "nobody wants you around," which is a
Hmm.
super messed up thing to say to your daughter. But Alicia, like you've
Yep.
mentioned, is well, she's always drunk, and she does
Yeah.
seem just like a pretty toxic personality at this point. I don't know that
Yeah.
she has powers, nor do I know about her other daughter, whose name I've forgotten, if she has powers. So it's like we talk about the Mayfairs like they're all witches and they all have powers, but I'm not sure. Well, they're certainly not clear at every point in
No,
the
and I
story.
mean, I think some of them have more powerful talents than others, or some of them it's sort of like a it's hit or miss, or it's like a weaker power or something that's not their talent isn't as um developed or consistent, I
Yeah,
guess is
yeah,
the
and
best
certainly
way to put
Rowan
it.
is the most powerful of them at the moment, and
Hmm.
probably was even when she rolled into town
Yeah.
because of her ability to blow people's heads up or hearts or whatever it is they're doing. Um, Other new characters we're meeting include I was super happy to see him in the cast list. Ben Feldman, I really like him
Yep.
as an actor from
Yeah, he's great.
Mad Men and what was the Walmart show?
Oh, I have no
Cloud
idea.
Nine or
But
Superstore. He was amazing. Like
yes.
he's great. He has great comedic timing. This is not,
Hmm.
I think, it's not a funny role because it's not a funny show, but he is still bringing some of his wry, sort of dry humor to parts of it anyway. So he's being introduced as a guy named something Larkin,
Sam.
Sam Larkin, who goes by Lark,
Lark.
and apparently is a character from the books. No recollection of his character either, but he's a geneticist in New York when we meet him, and Rowan is calling him to be like, have some blood and check it, but do it off the books.
Yeah. And I would
So,
say, and I think it's pretty funny because like you give somebody like, and this is all the stuff with the Mayfair family, and we know that the blood and Lasher, and we know that the blood's going to be pretty weird. So I think that the fact that he shows up at her door is, I mean, it kind of they preview this, but he certainly has unfinished business with her or is intrigued by her, and I think wants to know what's going on, and so eventually he shows up. But and I think that's kind of he's a cool character. I'd like to throw in here because I think we want some explanation for what's happening, and I think we know that there's some connection between Lasher and um, the Mayfair women. He's consistently smelling them in a creepy way
well,
and
this
talking.
you're really getting into episode two a lot with this because the
No,
only
no,
person
in the
In the
In the,
first episode, he does interact with a girl, but you don't know that she's a Mayfair until the very, very end of the
oh,
episode.
but I'm talking about how he's interacting with Rowan.
Oh, he does
Even
mention
as
that he likes her smell.
he likes her smell, and there's like a few moments where he like hugs her, and you can see him like breathing it in, and it's just it's a little creepy.
There is some
Um,
creep, and it definitely accelerates and becomes more creepy in episode two. Um, I feel like we also can tell just from the interactions we have with Lark that this dude's not going to make it. He's done for. He has a crush on Rowan, and I don't think anybody can survive having a crush on Rowan when
oh yeah,
Lasher's around. So
for sure.
he's probably not long
Like
for this world.
like when he pops up at her doorstep, so to speak. I mean, he doesn't know any of the things that have been going on, and
That's super messed
um,
up, by the way, that he does that.
it is weirdly
He
it
he
is
does a
like
pop in to New Orleans from New
yeah.
York. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
And also just give her a call. You don't have to like show up at her doorstep. But we also know, like, to me, that was sort of like the setup with the house and how dangerous the house could be for so many reasons, not just because of Lasher. Like, we've got ghosts, we've got like, just there's a lot of energy going on there. And she's like, yeah, you're not coming into this house. And she's just like, let me walk you to your hotel.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought that was I liked how they did that. And
That is in episode two.
yeah.
In this episode, after she calls him about the blood sample and sends it off to him, she also like randomly is just she sees that a woman is upset in the hallway of the
Hmm.
hospital, and then is like, oh, it's this woman's daughter, and she's probably got a terminal diagnosis from cancer, and so she just is like, oh, I'll heal you, and so she does. And it takes a lot out of her, and she has a little lie down, and then we see
Hmm.
Cortland's daughter Jojo again. But what did you think of this power and then like her decision and then she goes back and tries to pitch it to Lasher? What did you think of that part of the story?
Well, so I think this is an interesting sort of development of the power because, we've seen her use it for like her ability to see what's wrong with bodies and use it for like sometimes not intentionally and sometimes yes, but like she's used it to kill people. And so the idea that you could then use this power in this other way to heal people instead is actually I think pretty cool. Um, and the interaction with her and Lasher about these things, he is not, like this is a spirit that is ancient. We don't know exactly where he is from or what he is from, but he has clearly been observing or part of this family back, so far back, that sort of utilizing this power in this way, and then she uses it, the healing piece on Lasher. Like they have a very interesting dynamic. Like there's a creepy little mother son thing. There's something else going on. Clearly, but he's almost like an alien. So or like so when she's freaked out by him and like her power kind of goes out of control and hurts him, and then she heals him with it and is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, and I would care for you," and all this thing. It's kind of a weird, toxic, dysfunctional thing between them. Don't you agree? Like and there's also the part where he doesn't act like he's new, obviously, so he's like several days old, but he doesn't have a moral compass. He's just kind of like and I don't know that he totally understands what he is there for. Maybe he understood it before, but is still trying to figure out now that he's embodied in a human. And maybe he's developing certain things as he's developing like in this body. I don't know.
He's being really like terse. He's not sharing what he might know. And maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't know anything. And she wonders that too when she's talking to people about it, like to Dolly Jean. But
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I like this relationship. It's because it is a mystery. By the time second episode rolls around, it does feel like he doesn't know much really, but
right.
maybe he's still just being secretive. I like the way that the Rowan character is coming at this, though. It's kind of like she's trying to figure out what he is. She keeps asking him, "What are you doing here?" But she also seems to be earnestly taking care of him. And she is not, and the show is not going into this weird Kim Dickens, Frank Delane territory of mother son interested in each other. He's interested in her. Lasher is interested in her sexually. She is not at all. And so
Nope.
far, so far. And I appreciate that. The fact that they're not just being like, yeah, and now she's kind of into him. I'm like, what? No, that would be gross.
Yep.
The thing is, by the second episode, he does look like the guy that she was romantically involved with.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to
Yeah.
work. But she even, and like jumping ahead, she even is saying to him, like, I love you in a different way now. And that's
Hmm.
what that's going to be. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be weird.
Well, I mean, it is freaking weird. I mean, she gave birth to him, so you would imagine that he kind of like, yeah, it's creepy.
She
The
gave
whole
birth to
thing
him
is
6 days ago. Like, there's no
right.
precedent for this.
Right.
And yeah, but she, I think so far is treading the line pretty well. Like, I'm not into you, romantically because I gave birth to you. That
Right.
would be weird.
But he is being creepy with her. So,
Yeah.
and then she's trying to just kind of, I don't know, trying to like, she's even trying to like read his mind, trying to figure it out. She's going to other people also to see if they know of what, if there's any
Yeah,
hints to what he's been doing.
and they're telling her she needs to talk to Cortland, and she's keeping his
Right.
salt statue in her basement. And I really like
Um,
the revelation that JoJo is not at all pissed off about this. She's like, "Oh, I wouldn't wake him up. I wouldn't. I would keep him
oh,
in there. Don't bring him out. He was a terrible person." I thought that was
yeah,
great.
and actually, JoJo is like, he absolutely knows nothing. He says he does, but he doesn't. And then she also is trying to get some answers out of Dolly. And Dolly is equally like, basically, just that this is going to be good for the family and that Rowan has to kind of deal with that. And,
Yeah, Dolly's she's a real player. Like when
mhm,
Moira comes to the house to try and interrogate Lasher and find out what he did to Tessa or how Tessa was killed.
mhm,
Um, I think it's in this interaction that Dolly is basically telling Moira, don't tell Rowan everything.
right,
Things like that are happening. So she's kind of making sure that Rowan doesn't have exactly the easiest row to travel down. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like, I think because you think of it as a Mayfair, an established person who's never left New Orleans, or is a Mayfair in New Orleans of New Orleans, and then Rowan comes in from San Francisco, has never been part of the family, but is suddenly the most powerful person there, and is in the First Street
right,
house and has Lasher. Yeah, she's going to be the
right.
target of so much resentment, right?
Sure. And lots of people who didn't have more direct contact or even people who did seem to have more power. Like, I would say that there's going to be a lot of envy and jealousy, but also a lot of maneuvering to see who maybe could help leverage this.
Yeah,
And now that Lasher is human, there is more the ability to interact with him in a way like he's there, right? Like he's physical. So
yeah.
I think that there's certainly motivation from the family to learn more about this and also maybe to oust Rowan. I think there's definitely people that are just not excited about that. I would say Tessa's death also impacted people and they are pretty upset about that, or a lot of people are upset about that because I think Rowan is an outsider. She has not been here within the family. She grew up outside of the family, and Tessa was viewed as more of an ally within the family itself and to
Yeah.
keep that power within them. So I think that there's definitely going to be some things that play out with that.
And there's the question of like, did Lasher purposefully lure Tessa by saying,
Yeah.
"I've chosen you. Here's the necklace. It's for you," and
Hmm.
then purposefully did not come and help her when she was in mortal peril? And that's a question that Rowan, I think, is grappling with, and she's trying to talk to Lasher about it because Lasher is hearing Moira come to the house and be like, "What happened to my sister?"
Right.
And this is teenage Lasher, who I really liked. I thought that was a great like
Hmm.
he seemed at turns like innocent and naive, and then also by the end of this first episode, he's killed a person,
Hmm.
but he seems also upset about that. So that version
Yeah.
of Lasher I thought was one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I mean, he's kind of doing things that he doesn't understand either, and he doesn't really understand how this world works. And he doesn't seem to have a complete memory, or like his memory is very odd, just what came before. I don't either he's totally forgotten, or by becoming human, he's just interacting with the world in a very different way. And so I kind of like that part that he is in the dark too and is trying to figure things out, and that he is just incredibly dangerous. Just even though he looks, especially even when he looks like a little kid, like a teenager, he is dangerous. And so that's also kind of a cool dynamic where Rowan is interacting with him, but she doesn't know completely what he can do and is trying to put some limits on some of the things that he's doing, just even physically. And he just keeps outpacing her or, you know, doesn't like, I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic to have between the two of them.
Yeah.
And
He's
the mystery is
definitely
definitely there.
he's definitely not staying in the house when she wants him
No,
to.
no, no.
Like at the end of this episode when he brings home a dead girl, and she's like she locks him in the basement to go and put the hide the body or dispose of the body so that she can
Mm,
like yeah, so she's trying to fix this in a way. He doesn't stay in the basement. He didn't stay in his room and he went out to that party and met the girl in the first place after they'd have
yep.
had an argument.
Hmm.
It's yeah, she doesn't have any control over him, and he's stronger than her. He actually is freakishly like superhuman strong,
Yeah.
which is part of the problem. Although she has the magic, she's got the mojo. He is physically,
He
uh,
is physically strong. And he's also like um definitely hormonal and going through lots of stuff. So I think he's also looking for an outlet for that and doesn't fully understand it. So that's, he's constantly looking for fuel because he's growing so rapidly. I'd also argue that he'd probably have to be taking in a lot more calories given the rapid pace that he's growing. And we see like they play this up, but it's probably even more than what they show that he would have to do if he was advancing this rapidly in his growth pattern. And it would also, and again, they show a little bit of this. I think it would be incredibly painful because your bones are expanding that rapidly. Like you talk, when kids even go through puberty, like, and they go through a growth spurt, their bones ache, even in the like, and it's fast, but even in this, with this rapid advancement, I don't know. I think he'd be writhing in pain all the time, but maybe he's also something else. So maybe it's
yeah, I don't
manifesting in
know
a
that we
different
can
way.
draw total parallels between a human and whatever he is. He's something. He has four
Different.
chromosomes that are completely
Yeah.
alien. So yeah, by the end of this episode, he has become Houston. What's Houston's first name? He's become the
Uh,
actor who played him in the first season,
John Huston as
John Houston.
Lasher,
Yeah,
right? Or Jack Huston, sorry.
Jack. So
John Huston is Angelic Houston's father. Different Houston. No,
this
Jack,
Houston is not related, I think, to the
no, he
American
is not.
Houstons. So
No, no.
He's a British Houston. So he's crawling out of the basement window as Jack Houston at the end of
Hmm.
the episode picks up the girl's purse that he'd been sniffing creepily at this party
Ugh.
and finds her ID and it's a Tulane
Hmm.
ID and it says Lucy Mayfair and we're like, "Oh no. He killed a
Yep,
Mayfair." And then he
he
goes kind of
did.
wanders off into the night, the New Orleans night while his mom, aka Rowan, is off burying the body or sinking the
Yeah,
body of his first
sinking the
victim.
body into the lake.
And that's where we leave that episode. I think like the main thing that's happened with the Talamasca story in this is that Cyprian has gone from off books, like living in a motel and driving an old beater, to being back in with the Talamasca and driving a Mercedes, and is still like following Rowan around and trying to get at
Mm,
um Lasher. And I think that they've introduced the subplot that they're going to try to use Moira to accomplish
yeah,
this.
yeah,
And
and with some like magic, like to influence her and make her feel trusting towards him. But he's also consistently worried about having his memory manipulated by Albrecht.
yeah,
And so that's something that's a constant fear for him. So
but
I
and
think,
then in second episode he has an interaction with Arjuna where he
mhm,
goes to her and asks for the trust tab that he's gonna use that to ingratiate himself with Moira. And she gives him some warning, I think like that it's a one time only, or that, the
mhm,
best way to get people to trust you is to be nice or something along those lines.
to actually get them to trust you.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
And
feel like he has time for sure. So,
and then she brings up the fact that she has missing memories because
mhm,
she guesses that the thing he asked her to hold on to was a memory. And she's like, why do I also miss memories? And he's like, oh, it's because our boss is terrible. And then here they actually have the funniest part of these two episodes where she's like, well, I'd go and tell HR, but I think they would just delete my memories.
Right. And that he is HR, basically
Yeah.
Albrecht. So
I
that's
don't
like
think
great.
Talamasca has a traditional corporate structure, but yeah. So
No.
that was funny, but they're both kind of like, yeah, we're screwed, I guess. And what was interesting here is Cyprian's telling her like, look, the job is the most important thing in the world. There's any price is worth
Right.
paying so that we can do this work. And I thought that
Right.
that
And I
was
mean,
kind of
Albrecht
crazy.
is the one who kind of who has basically wants him to use Moira to like he wants to use Moira, and this is going to be his new like link into the family. Or at least, but we also know that Cyprian has other thoughts about it and still wants to hopefully save Rowan. And so,
I thought this was
so
another
that's
really great scene in this episode when he does go and interacts with Moira, and
hmm
then he just lets her read his mind. And it doesn't quite go the way he thinks it's going to go because I think she sees his true feelings instead of what he is telling her. Because he's like, look, I
hmm
have the best interests of your family at heart. We want to, basically, they want to what? Abduct Lasher, remove him
yeah,
from the scenario, which is
yeah, they
very much
want
not a Talamasca sort of philosophy. They were just
mm-mm,
observers in season
yeah,
one, although they didn't always just observe. Now they're definitely like, okay, this guy who has shown up on the scene is a huge risk, and so we have to like take him off the board.
hmm
And so when he's sitting down with Moira, she's like, "Nah, dude, you just love Rowan. You're just in love with her, and that's the only reason you're doing any of this." And I think
yep,
it's a good scene because you can see it sort of percolating through Cyprian's head when she says that.
yep. So that was kind of a cool thing, which I liked. Um, so and then I do like how they are telling the story with Lasher kind of just out there in the world mucking up everything and not knowing what he's really doing.
Yeah, the first thing he
Um,
mucks up is so great too, because how excited were you? I don't know if you were excited to see Thora Birch. I was excited to see
oh,
Thora
I
Birch.
was. Yeah, that was a
Although I
yeah.
think of her as a kid still, and this is definitely not a kid.
Nope, she is definitely not. So yeah. So that's a bummer. But
It's not a bummer,
um
it's just time has passed. But yeah, so she's a Mayfair who is into tarot and reading telling the
oh,
future.
I was more saying meaning her storyline is a bummer,
Oh,
but
her storyline is a bummer.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And that I wanted to see more of her, but what
Yeah,
can
it
you
would have
do?
been cool if she'd stuck around, but they did a decent job. Even her, she just has one phone call with presumably her
Mm.
husband and is like doing her tarot readings and is like, I'm not going back to town. Something terrible is happening. And
Eesh.
don't come out here. I won't come in there. And that should keep me safe is kind of the
Yeah.
takeaway. But what she didn't count on was Lasher apparently walking all the way from New Orleans to wherever she was, because
Yeah.
he just shows up at her house.
Yep.
And because of
Um,
this damn Mayfair curse of everybody is so into Lasher, she doesn't know who she is, but she is inexplicably drawn to him.
attracted him. Yep. And she even says it. She's like, I never do things like this.
Yeah.
And then he does a little bit of his creepy smelling with her, smelling her and things, and seduces her as he does with almost all Mayfair women. And but he even seems familiar to her, so that's like something that they definitely play up here, that there is something that whatever interaction he has with the Mayfair women, it kind of makes their defenses drop.
Yeah.
So he seduces her, and um, shortly thereafter, she just has like complete pain and basically dies. And he doesn't. It's weird because he says don't leave me, so he knows something is happening and he knows that he is potentially the cause of it, but he I don't think he understands why it's happening, and nor do we.
Yeah.
Um, but
It's
it's
it's it is weird that this ultimately happens three times in these first two episodes.
mhm.
The first two times it seems like he doesn't know what's about to happen, but I think the third time,
The third time I think he definitely knows. So
just yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of curious that he would, because he's asking Rowan later in the episode, like, why do I feel this way? Why is this happening?
hmm
It's not so he's I think what my takeaway would be is that he's trying to produce more people like him through
Yes.
copulating with Mayfair women, but
Right.
they're just not up to the task, and probably Rowan's the only person who will be.
Well, and the genetic piece, like we hear more from Lark about, that the blood samples are, he's like, oh, they're corrupted and they have all these extra chromosomes. And he's all very curious about it. And, I'm curious to hear what the explanation is. And I mean, we do know there's another pretty cool scene um, that he's, just that he looks like a human, but we know that Lasher is not now. So like that little piece of evidence is kind of interesting that there's extra DNA, extra things happening that maybe isn't compatible, which is potentially killing these women.
Yeah.
But there's something because like the smell and like the instinct to like have this drive. I also think maybe he's not completely, I think he may know what he's doing, but I think he has like that drive to procreate, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know that he's totally under control of what he's doing either. Though he obviously knows that it's causing death and doesn't really care. So maybe the drive is stronger than that.
Well, on
And
some
then
level, he might
Rowan's
feel like he's been the benefactor of this family for so
mm,
long that they owe him a few bodies anyway, maybe on some
maybe, but
level.
I don't know that he cares or that this is just he's always motivated by his own drives
Yeah.
is what I generally, take away from that. So I
So
don't know. It's an
Rowan
interesting
is
thing.
constantly getting called during this episode, like, oh, another one's dead. Or at least it happens a couple times. And so it happens when she's about to go up to Lark's hotel room to do quote unquote research.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets the call that Gifford is dead, and so she goes out to Gifford's house, sees an empty milk jug on the floor, and then can feel him. And so she goes out to the woods to interact
Mm.
Lasher, who she hasn't seen yet as an adult. Like now she sees him, and like this could have gone a few different ways. It's crazy the way that it goes, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like they're fine. She's like, "Look, I just want to help you come back with me. Let's work together." And then he's like, "No, you ruined it. I don't trust you anymore."
Mm.
And he's like, "You just want to control me." And she's like, "Well, somebody's got to. You're killing people." And then she literally tries to kill him like several
If she
times.
does, it's not, you know,
But she's terrible at making trees fall down on people, or he's just so fast that she is just impossible to do. It's hard to tell. But she tries to hit him
yeah.
with lightning and misses, and then she drops like five trees, and none of them are anywhere near him because he's just running away.
Mm.
So this is
Um,
probably a breaking point in their relationship, I would say.
yeah. And then there's another little scene where he's like kind of recovering, like he's scared and he's damaged, like he's got a cut, and he kind of like there's like a bug that just kind of like gets into his blood and turns all shiny. So there's,
He's
so
got shiny magic in his blood, that's for
yep,
sure.
yep. And so he's, you know, at least knows that Rowan, he doesn't trust Rowan in terms of like what her motivations are now. And certainly now that she's tried to kill him, he will have even less trust there.
Yeah,
And
it
then
almost feels like when he goes to Alicia's after this, like does that maybe it's punishment?
hmm,
I don't know.
maybe
It's probably not. I'm probably reading too much into it, but that's the next thing he does after he hides from her and there's a scene of her
hmm,
driving around New Orleans with her hand out the window trying to find him.
find him. Yeah.
And the next thing he does though is go to Alicia's house and climbs through the window and she's she's a mess. But then she does the same thing to her and it's a pretty tragic time to be a Mayfair, obviously.
Yeah. I do like how they sort of have JoJo being the link between Rowan and the family because otherwise the family may not be as open to having Rowan involved in things. They also don't fully understand what's happening either. They know that Mayfair women are dying. I don't think, I mean, JoJo obviously maybe no, but like other people aren't aware that it's Lasher that's doing this, and so it's interesting because like we have get called about Gifford's death, so it's not like they're calling Rowan themselves to tell her these things.
That's
So
true. Yeah, she's the one who's keeping her plugged in, and she's also getting her a job at the hospital.
Right.
I mean, I really feel for Rowan. She wants to use her powers for good, kind of like Tessa did. Tessa wanted to
Right.
be a superhero. Rowan just wants to be a healer, and but she kind of needs Lasher to be on board for that to work on some level. She probably could do a little bit of it independently because while she can create strokes, I think she can also like help people. But
Right.
obviously, if Lasher's there with her, she could do a lot more.
Right.
Anyway,
But anyway, like Alicia's death, now there's like another one is what is like now that she's like, okay, these women are dying and I've got to do something and nobody seems to know what's happening. And even though she had promised Jojo that she would not wake up Cortland, I think this is the thing that pushes her over the edge to do so. So
yeah,
that actually, we then get to see a little bit of what's been going on with Cortland as he's been
it's been pretty
locked up,
weird.
and
Cortland's been
it's been
having a
pretty
bad
weird.
time. Yeah.
But I do love that Ted Levine is playing Cortland's dad in this purgatory or wherever he is.
Ted Levine of Buffalo Bill fame and Psych, your favorite show
In
on Shudder.
Psych, my favorite. So he's playing Julian Mayfair, and this is exactly the purgatory you would expect it to be for Cortland, just trying to please his father. It is super creepy, and he is being made to serve his father, and his father asks a lot of sacrifices of him. It's really gross.
And then
So
by the end of this episode, we get the distinct impression that Julian is no longer satisfied with the afterlife or whatever this
correct.
purgatory is, and he's like, "I'm coming out." I think
Yep,
he's
it
calling
felt
out
like
to
that for
Rowan.
sure,
Like, how
for
does he
sure.
know who she is even? But yeah,
Well, and was part of it that I didn't know if they were implying that part of him is like attached to Cortland or that he is controlling Cortland. Maybe I don't know. So
hmm
I'm curious to see what happens there. But that was what I thought of when because that's like the very end. Um, but it's I don't think things are going to go well when Jojo because Jojo was so vehement that Rowan not
yeah.
wake up Cortland. So
And
that's going to be a problem.
you've made this case that JoJo is her like one ally in the Mayfair
Yep.
family, and if she has now ruined that relationship, what does that
And I
mean
would
for Rowan?
I would also say JoJo's pretty upfront with her about everything, and you don't. Maybe we will discover that there's ulterior things going on with JoJo, but she's been very like honest with Rowan. She's been the most honest member of the family, and her only ally that I can see that you could potentially trust. And maybe she's got other things going on, but it to me the fact that she didn't consult JoJo or at least tell her what she was doing ahead of waking up Cortland is to me is going to be a disaster. But we'll have to see how that plays out. And JoJo is not necessarily wrong. Cortland is incredibly manipulative. He does things that you don't even know he's doing. He's got these deep ties with the family, and he's been working as like this kind of like shadowy figure um, and working towards something for Lasher. We don't know what, but like he is, I think it's a huge risk laying him out. I don't think JoJo's wrong about that. And so we'll have to see how that ends up
Yeah.
in the rest of the season.
And
Um,
Rowan's guidance for him is like throw a party and have everybody come over, and that's going to help me figure out what's going on. Or is it to draw Lasher to the party?
I think it's to maybe make a like a bait, probably.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say is like with Cortland, like he's very jealous of Rowan too, and even in the interactions we saw with his father, and we see now what that dynamic was. He is not somebody that's going to react well to being like not the person in charge, and so he makes a deal with her to get out of there, and you can see that he's going to tell her whatever she wants to hear. But again, she's definitely let an incredibly risky, like shadowy figure out that I think it means her harm ultimately, or will do anything he can to get Lasher's power or Lasher on his side or something. But
hmm
I just think this is like an ill-advised plan, and I don't think he knows a lot. She even asks him about some of the diaries, and he looks blank, although it's hard to know when he's playing or not. But it's just, to me, it's sort of like, oh, you let him out because you thought he knew things, and it doesn't seem like he does at all. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. But I do like how these first two seasons are like setting the table, and I'm curious to see where they take it. They've definitely departed from the books, so I'm wondering how they sort of fill in the different pieces of the mystery here.
Yep, it'll be interesting to continue. There are how many episodes in this season? There are 8 episodes in this season. There's a third season that is in production also. So the story will not end after these 6 more episodes that we get to see. And we'll find out where we go, how Rowan's gonna fare. Will
Yeah,
Ben Feldman last until the end of the season or die very soon?
I think he's gonna die pretty soon, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they
Certainly.
need him to explain this other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, um,
But yeah, so what did you think? You enjoying Mayfair Witches?
oh, I am enjoying it. I think it went off the rails a little bit in the first season, so I'm curious to see what happens. And alas, I think we already know that it didn't get renewed, so I'm curious to see if they're able to, at least to some extent, wrap some of the storyline
No,
up.
Talamasca got canceled, but I thought this one.
Oh, is this still going?
I
Oh,
think
sorry, I
there's
thought
a
it was
third season planned for this.
my bad. I thought it was this, but I guess it was Talamasca, so
Talamasca did one season and it was canceled.
it's done.
Filming for the third season began in October
Oh, good.
and
Okay,
concluded
so
in February, so it's actually in the can.
nice. So actually, that's great news. I
Yeah.
was getting because I was operating under this not true news. I was like, oh, I hope that they're actually able to do like what get to some point in this season. But that is really great because there's a lot of ground to cover, from what I recall. So, that is good news indeed. Then about season 3.
Yeah.
So, but what are we going to be talking about next time then? The season, I think episodes 3 and 4, correct?
Yeah, which are called Cover the Mirrors and Double Helix.
Ooh, well, maybe we'll find out the mystery about Larkin in Double Helix.
Maybe that'll be his exit scene. DNA themed episode. Okay, but yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you come back for more Mayfair Witches with us on Reanimated next time.
Yep, thank you for listening. If you have anything to share or thoughts about this season of Mayfair Witches, send us an email at reanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. And thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Reanimated Podcast. You can find the rest of our episodes online at reanimated.podbean.com. Our intro and outro music is produced and recorded by Colin Diaz. And you can often find us on Discord at the Brain Munchers Zombie Collective with a bunch of other zombie fans.